Uh, this is Kaddish the Rabbanan. So I'm just going to read from on the page Kuf Samach Ches in my book. Yekavim ba'ambrach this Shvacha Godel v'Hakadosh Hazeh B'Lashon Targum. And they see like he starts out in a different kind of mode than the way it sounds in the Tiv. He's a B'Lashon Targum with on the Hachniya HaKali. This is what we're trying to do. The Kali have a hold of everything. The Levadlam, and this goes along with what we're talking about the Simonim. As Yud Aleph Mini Kedusha Shenishara Bechem Mizam Zun. So which is the Zayim Malachim, which are become Zun, or we're thinking in Olam Atikun. That's where their origin. Shehem Vav K, which is the Zam represents really the Zat. The Lachamram, the Osius, Yud K, this is the idea we're trying to do. We're praying the Shehem Abba Ve'ima in order to bring the children back and there's a big yichud there. Now we pointed out before, because I know that we've seen this before, there's two things that we could do here. Before I read just trying different ways to try to make it easier for us. Before we get to the definitions that he says, Yiskada v'Yiskadash, just looking, say, like in the right column, he says this is the Ner, that is the bottom two parts, which is the Vav K, the Narantchi, the Ruach, the Ima. So, of course, I think that the way that you do this, to understand how he works it, is that the last word in the series is... it's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with Ima. But if you look back at the previous ones, they're all panimi to it. So it's the Ner part of a Narantchi, which is a whole set of lights, of Ruach, which is coming from only Yisira. And somehow this is coming out of, this Ner is coming out of Ima. And then he shows you basically the Oros. And now we can understand the Oros, we said with the Makif and the Panimi. Still a little bit shaky about. There's so many different ways to look at them. The two oros here, the makif, which is an ekia, but at any rate, this is Chagat Nai. Basically, this is a drawing of Chagat Nai with all the vocalizations that go with the Chagat Nai. So just looking at it, that's what you have. You have the same thing on the other side too. And then this light, which is Panimi, is going to go into this Elokim. And then, I'm not sure, this is a Ha'ara, I think, is just the, when you have the Aleph and then the big Lamed Fei. Let me see, I'm not showing this so well. And you have the big Lamed Fei. These are really the Miluyim. So you're just bringing the Milu, which is, I think, is another way of saying Ha'ara. And again, the three Elokims, which is Netzach, Chod, Yesod, and they're going into Ekia. I don't know what the Ekia is doing down at the bottom. Let's read the language up at the top. He says, Yiskado, when you say the word Yiskado, Yekav Lahamshak Tsalam, the Ner, the Neranchi, the Ruach. So the first thing you're doing, so again, the words are Yekav Lahamshak Tsalam. Now, spend some time thinking about what the meaning of Tsalam is, because he uses it here, but he doesn't use it down below. So I'm thinking that Tsalam is the Pneumius, as you're dealing with what we always know that Tsalam is. Tsalam, I mean, it is, let's see, it's called Sama. So you have Levushim, and then you have the Tsalam, but the Tsalam is really talking about light. And so therefore you have the three different parts. You have the two Makifim and the Panimi in that Tsalam. So you're bringing down all the light, that is the whole Tsalam. Of the bottom two lights, which is Ner, because they're going to be in the Narantchi, the Ruach, because of that is the Ner part of the Narantchi of Ruach. That's what you're bringing down. Now, and he shows it, like I say, I don't know which way to do this first, where you do the bottom part first, you do the top, but at any rate, it's good to be aware of what's going on down below, just identifying it, I think. Shehem Gimel, so he says, the Ruach, Hem Mochin the Yaniki, Mochin the Yanik or Mochin the Katnas. So these are Mochim of Ima. Shehem Gimel. And what are the mochin of Ima? So the mochin of Ima are going to be Elokims because we're dealing with continence. Meluvashim Benai the Ima, and these are the. It's just the same way as thinking, so to speak. It's the same. It sounds the same as godless. This is that they're in the Nai of Ima, and they're going to go to Zeranpin, but they're not mochin the godless. They're mochin the continence. We're starting off with Ima. Maybe the reason, I just throw a reason on, but maybe the reason why it starts with Bina is because Bina is the most outside part that's going to be going into Zeranpin. That's the flow it's going to be going into. But these are mochin two of continence. And he says, Shehem, and what are the mochin of continence? So what do they look like? So let me wait a minute. Shehem Gimel Elokim. No, he's the Ruach, the mochin the Yanika. So the mochin the Yanika. How do we know what the mochin of Yanika look like? Because they're the milui, the vad, the kasa, kana. So it's only the miluyim that are coming down. Im sharsha shuhu ekye pashut. Okay, well, at any rate, I asked the question before, what's going on with this ekya pashut in the bottom? There's an ekya by itself. Let me make this bigger. So he said that's all part of what's flowing. And so now going over to Yis Kaddish. Now we're going to go to the male side. First, let's start with the female side, because you would see that as you're looking, if you were looking from the down up towards this light coming at you, the first part that you would see of it, this is just an explanation I'm giving if it works, is going to be the imadikas part. She's on the outside. Then it says, let's go to the Yis Kaddish. So it's the same kind of language. You cover lahamshech tselem. So this is the whole set of lights. But in other words, there's a tselem of each one of these, of the nefesh and the ruach, each one of those. But they're bringing them together. Of that is that part of the neranchi, which is the vav k part. Let's say corresponding to the to the lower element of ruach. So we're going to v'yiskadesh yikav lahamshech to stream this down. The tselem, the ner, the neranchi, the ruach. Because this is what we're trying to bring down. Im mochin, the yanika, once again, is going to be mochin the katnas. The Abba Shehem Gimel Elokim, once again, because the mochin the katnas are called Elokims. He's Meluvashim Benai. So once again, we have the same thing, the Ner, the Neranki, the Neruach, because the Ner means these are the lights. And these are the lights, they're all flowing down. They're going to flow into these three Elokims, which represent the mochin the katnas. And then he says, then at the bottom, there's a little bit more up at the top here to read. He says, then he said, the Yanika, the Abba Shehem Gimel Elokim Beluvashim Benai, B'Yisoda Odef. So he said, now this particular phrase, I'm not sure. He says Nai. So what is the Yisoda Odef who? So there's something about the Yisod. I'm not sure that I know that the name Shakai goes with the concept Yisod. The Yisod ha'odev hu shakai mole gematria is Kaddish. Okay, it's a little bit beyond me. I'm really sorry that I can't really understand what he did here. The Yisod ha'odef. So first of all, that phrase Yisod ha'odef hu shakai. And what's the odif part? That's a part that I really don't go. There's an additional to the Yisod, also this light is coming, is Mole Gematria Yiskadash, and that's how you get Miskadash. So this is the Yiskadash. So what's Yiskadash? Like set it aside or make it special, in the holy category. And then moving on, it says the parts of Nai v'Chagat the Chagat Zah. So we're always dealing with the Chagat of Zeranpin. So that's the Zah. Going backwards, it says the Chagat of Zah. And it's the Nai and the Chagat of the Chagat. Because as we know, that the RASHASH divides all these things up. Okay, we got a little break here. Hashem should help us. Keep going on with the RASHASH. Here we go. Da da dee, da da da. So here we go. All right. Okay, so now as Rabbi Memram used to say that the directions of where it's coming from are going to go to the same DNA, which is down below. And he says, the very last thing, he says that all of these, what we have up above us, when you say the word V'yiskadash, then the kavana is to think that these lights are what's coming in. V'yiskadal, V'yiskadash. So we have to keep that in mind the best we can. The next is, then it goes, where's it ultimately going to? It's going to all the parts of. The parts of it's called the Nagi V'chaga Dachaga. That's what it's called. And we've seen this before, but you know exactly it's going, that's a whole system, because when he says, look, whenever they say the Nai, so we're so happy that the Nai, we understand that it's part of the Chabad Chagat Nai kind of thing. Now he said, but let's look at the Nai itself. The Nai is in a section of light, or let's say of a contraction of the hismatus of the light there. And he says that we want to know, we want to look inside of it. And inside of it, we're going to find that in the Nai, there is a Chagat, and there's inside is there Anpin, there is a Chagat, and there's a Nai and a Chagat to that Chagat, because those are the elements that refer to Zeranpin. That's the definition in Zeranpin. And this is ununderstandable, but he continues on with the same idea. He says, what is the Nai v'chagat achagat deza? That parts of. And he says, well, if you want to know, they're the Eric Anpin and his Nook. And then why he doesn't put in Abba Ve'ima in his Nook, but he doesn't. V'Yisrael Saba, and those two, in other words, there's two elements, and the two elements, it's going downwards. And he says, that's what's called Zeranpin. Okay, well, I don't really know what to do with that. So he says, where is this going, though? You understand the lights that are up above, all of this flowing down. This is the pocket that it's going to. He says, the Nai v'chagat achagat deza. So he says, the Heichul Kadshi Kadoshim, at the very top of a Siyah deza, the Ratzilus v'the Tachtainu. Okay, just that. Okay, let's move on a little bit more. And let's do the next one. So the next one could be the same thing, or the same idea. It's the lights, skipping the introduction, just looking at the lights. You have this flow of lights, which now he's showing the Kachbad, or the Kachav Chagat Nai. That's where you're showing it. He says the three Elokims, which are the Moch and the Katniss, which we understand already, and all of that light is going to go into a specific pocket as well. Let's see what this top part says. He says, Shemay, on that word Shemay, Yekabin Lahamshak Tselem the Nefesh. So now, before it was the Tselem of, let me see, the Lasha Targum, Lahakniya Hakali, that's not it. Here we go. The Tselem, the Ner, the Naranchi. Here it is the Tselem, the Nefesh, only the lower part, the Mochin the Iver, but here he's a Mochin the Iver, which are definitely Mochin the Kaddish. So for the first time, I'm just trying to analyze what he says. I'm not sure that I can really understand the sequence, but the first part he started out with the middle. Let's say I call it like a middle side to say where he's talking about the Ner. Here he's talking about just the bottom part, which is the Nefesh part. When you say the word Shemay, Shemay is maybe has to do with the concept of Sham, which is a lot of times our shame, which a lot of times refers to Malchus. I'm not sure. So Shemay Yikavin Lachamshech Tselem the Nefesh the Mochin. So you have this idea we're going to bring down the Tselem of the Nefesh of Mochin the Iber, but we're not the Ner anymore, because the Ner would be I think what you would call it would be the Chagat Nai. The Ner is Chagat Nai. But Nefesh is only, which would be Unika. But here is Nefesh is only Iver, the Ima, Shehem, Yud, K. So he said, but wait a minute, this is a part I don't know. It's Yud, K. And he says they're represented by the Yud, Ks of Elokim, Mochin, the Ima. Okay, I've never seen that before, and I don't know if I translated it right, but I've never seen that before where he took these two letters. They're not in he said, whatever it is, it's the Yud K part of the name Elokim, and that particular part is part of the Mochin, the Ima, that they're represented by those two letters. Once again, one more reading, Shemay, Yekabin La'amshach Tselem the Nefesh. Okay, those are the whole lights, the Neranchi of Nefesh, the Mochin, the Ivor. Okay, so this is just going to be Nefesh. The Ima Shehem Yud K. That's the part I don't understand. Yud K, the call Shem Elokim, Mochin, the Ima. But it's not. I'm not ever going to be able to understand it. If I'm thinking, if I don't see these, look at them and try to understand what he's doing, because I think they're sequential. So then you have the Neranchi. He shows you all the lights here. The Neranchi de Nefesh de Ima. If you look on the other side, you're going to have Neranchi de Nefesh de Abba. And it's going to say the same thing on the other side. But let's just do this one side, and you see all the lights coming down. The lights are going to go into these Elokims, these three Elokims, which are represented by Netzach and Hod. Now, he doesn't have any Odef here, this word Odef. It just goes into this, to this. So it's going where? To the parts of Nai, the Vok. The Nai, the Vok. That is the, what was it? Was another way to say the Nai, the Vok. It would say the Nai, the Chagat. Dvok is Chagat. The Nai of a Chagat Nai. Maybe that. The Zer Anpin, the Siya of the Zer Anpin of the Siya, the Zah, going down to that low place, the Tzilus, the Siya, Atachtaina, and then apparently moving on, sort of like an Ovi type of idea, going outwards, spreading into all the same things in all the other parts of him. Real quickly, we'll try to go through this. How are we doing time-wise? I'm taking some time, but I think it's really important to go through the whole thing and see what it looks like. So the next thing is Yeshmei Rabbah, so the great name. So he says, Yekavan, what's Rabbah? Well, first of all, it's a number 203, and I think it has significance elsewhere, but he says, Yekaver lahamshecha b'tzalim the nefesh. So again, the mochin, the iber, the abbas, it's the same thing, which is the yud k, the kol shem elokim. It's a specific part, which in elokim it's hey yud, not yud k. But I don't know what that means. Mochin, the abbas. So these are going into that. The mochim are going to be the elokims, and this is the light that's inside of the elokims. If you look at it. And then it's going to go to the parts of Nai Dezah. Let me get this up here. The parts of Nai Dezah, it's going to go into the bottom part of Zah. So what happened between these two? The Heichel Kodshim, so it's going to go into what the Nai of Zer Anpin. And he's saying that in the Heichel Kodshim of Zer Anpin, there's a Nai there. That's the bottom three spheros, or something like that. The Heichel Kodshim, the Asiya, the Zer Anpin, the Tzilus. So in the previous one, he starts out in the Vok. So he's dealing with Katniss here. He's dealing with Katniss, and so it starts out with the higher level of Katniss, which is the Ner. So you say Yiskadal v'Yiskadash, and you're bringing the Abadika and the Imadika side of these Mochin and these Oros of Katniss into a space, a similar space in Zer Anpin, or the matching space. Then you go to Shmei Rabbah, and you're not dealing with the Ner anymore. You're only dealing with the Nun, the Nefesh. He has a strange idea, which is strange to me, about the Yud K part of the Elokim. I just never heard it, so I wouldn't know. He says it's a part of the name Elokim, it sounds like. And all of that is going to come down. It's going to sweeten all that stuff up. Or let's see. Let's go to the next page. So we have what? We have Ner. We bring in Ner, and then we bring in the lower place. Why the lower place? Well, the lower place, Yehei Shmei Rabbah Shmei Rabbah is going to be dealing with just the Nai part, not the Chagat Nai of the Chagat, but only the Nai of Chagat. Chagat is the Ranpin. Chagat is Teves. Let's go to the next one, and it's see, the reason why I want to do this, because it's very disoriented. They haven't built this shul. We dive in at a tent a lot of times. So it's not great for Yeshiva Das. And a main is something that is easy to have. It's an easy, what I want to say, it's an easy kavana. So now you did that. You did. Excuse me. You did this. You said Yiskadal v'Yiskadash Shemei Rabbah. So you brought in the Chagat Nai of Chagat and the Nai of Chagat. You concentrated on just the Nefesh part on the last one. Excuse me. Let's say the Ruach Nefesh, and then the next part is the Nefesh. So we brought all of this light. What we're doing, we bring it down into places in Zeranpin. So he says, then Yikavin Lahamtik, let's go. So now, the Mochin, we have to do something about these Mochin. So he says, Yikavin Lahamtik Mochin the Iber the Yanika the Abba V'ima. So we talked about the Iber stage, that would be just the Nefesh part and the Yanika part, which would be the Chagat and the Nai. So the Nai and the Chagat, whichever way I want to say it, I don't know. Yikavin lahamtik hamochin the Iver the Yanika the Abba V'Iba Rishimo. So where does this Rishimo come from? He says there's Rishimo there. The Chavaya is the godlos, so the Chavaya is the godlos. V'lachaber kol Chavaya be'elokem, and to take each Chavaya. So he says that as these lights are proceeding, and we understand that the Mochin themselves are continous, and they're dinim, their name Elokem. He says at the same time there's some Havayas, some Rishimos of Havayas. So I'm assuming where these Rishimos coming from. I assume from previous Yehudim. And so that's all I could think of. I don't know if you have an idea, let me know. But basically, it's so we have these Shaluvim. So this is a yichud actually taking place, and we're making a yichud after we say Yehei Shmei Rabbah, like I'm getting my Yiskadal v'Yiskadal Shmei Rabbah. After we say that, we're going to see that we're going to bring now some leftover. That's why Rishimo is right, a leftover chavaya, and sweeten up those dinim. So he says how. So the first we have a set of 6. Exactly how this is the Yanika de Abba and the Iber de Abba. So we brought in Mochin both from the Yanika stage, which is Chagat Nai, and from the Iber stage, which is only Nai. And so we're bringing that in, and we're going to sweeten it. Then we're going to have another 6 sets. The 3 on the right are the Yanika de Ima, and the other one is good the Iba de Iba. So first it talks about the Abba stage. The Abba stage, again, it's a reversal a little bit. Okay, so I just want to say that, and let's look. I want to look at the other side. I don't know how much time we have. 6:14. We have a little bit of time. Okay, so I could continue looking at that side then. So he says. After we matched up the Elokims. Now we did that. Okay, so we brought all these mochin, these oros, and sort of continus, along with the Elokims, and we place them into Zeir Anpin. Now turns out that there's a Rishimo, which has a narration or a story from somewhere else, I don't know, and it's going to hook itself up now with these Elokims. Now, the question is, he has 6 of them. So he says the Mochin, the Yanika, is on the right side, and the Mochin, which is Chagat Nai, and over the Iver is going to be the left side, which is just the 9. So they're kept separate. So these are 2 different sets, apparently, of Mochin coming in some way. So then it says, Yekavin beklalos arba Teves hakelos. So think about this. He says, what are the 4 words we're talking about? Well, it's Yiskadal v'Yiskadash Shemei Rabo. So you think like the Yekavin. So in the general idea, let's see what he means by klalos of arba Teves ha'elu, the hamshek tzelem den the rantchi the yechida, im mochin the godless the abba, along with the mochin of godless. So this is a higher stage. So then you have this idea in mind. So now that you came and you put the Havayas onto the Elokims, then you should, in the middle of this, you haven't said Omein yet, Yiskadal v'Yiskadash Shemei Rabbah, and right now you're saying Yukabin b'chlalos arba b'tebos, that you're thinking about the kolol of the 4 letters, of the 4 words. Ha'elu l'chamshech tzelem the nerantchi the yechida, because that yechida has a whole nerantchi. So you're coming from this is Kesser. You're coming from the highest possible place, together with Mochin the godless, and it's bringing Mochin the godless now. the Abba Shehem Daled Osias Havaya Peshuta, which are 4 letters of the Havaya Peshuta. Now he says like this, he says, you want to know what the Narantchi, the Yechida, looks like? Im Mochin, the godless, the Abba with the Mochin of godless. So the first 2 are the Narantchi, the Makif and the Panimi. And they're going into the Mochim, the godless. This is a Moch of godless right here with just a Yud K Vav K. That's the way I think I'm analyzing this. Those lights are now coming into Zeranpin. This is the Mochim, the godless, the Abba, and they're Menukad with the comets, which refers to Kesser. So let's go on a little bit more. And he says, where is this going? The parts of Kesser, the Zeranpin, okay, because it's coming out of there. This is a Yechida. It's going into the very highest place in Zeranpin. And now he says, once again, he says the Kesser, again, of Zeranpin, he says, and in plural, he says, which are composed of this same idea, Eric Anpin in his nook, and Yisrael Savav in his nook, he said, Nikra Zah, and that's called Zah. Who's Zah? Eric Anpin inside and the nook. I don't have an explanation for that. So, but there is an addition to it later on. So like maybe could be that the RASHASH, which we've seen, Rabbi Memran said, it leaves things out. I'm not sure. The Heichel Kodesh, I don't think it's really the RASHASH. I think personally, I would think it's probably a Talis Sofrim that Sofrim didn't left it out. That's what I would think, but I could be wrong. It's not so long ago. The Heichel Kodesh Gadash and the Siyah, so it's going to the Zada, Sila, the Siyah, the Tachton, and this is going to spread. Now, here's an important one because it's something that we can do if I can understand it. V'one makahol amen. So what do you have in mind when you say amen? This is the big kavanah. He says what you have in mind is there is a set of lights coming off of the face. This is my explanation. This is a Fleischman explanation. Coming off of the face of Eric Anpin. The 2 kales. And the 2 kales spread out to be into 185 and 185. It gets you Shenayan, and he shows us those lights. Okay, there's the 2 kales, whatever that means. And then it's going to go into 3 sags. I have it as a Gematria 189, but that doesn't seem to do anything with that right here. So he says that at least that's where it seems to me like that's your starting point. Your starting point with these 2 kales, which are inside of 3 sags somehow. And that is coming down. And when you say the first word, the first letter, it causes a yichud to take place between Zer Anpin and Malchus. So he says, and here you have it because you have a shilov. So I'm just trying to understand this as best I can. So he says, so this is actually the Teferes of Zer Anpin and the Kesser of the Nook. Okay, because the Nook is right behind it. Now I was trying to play with the idea that you're dealing here with KADDISH still, but it doesn't. He just said you had these Mochim the godless come in. When the Mochim the godless come in, you're going to say amen to that. What's amen? Amen is a yichud between Teferes and Kesser and the Kesser the Nook, which is on his backside. So it's going through, I guess, the walls, you would say, of Zer Anpin to make a yichud there. I'm not sure. That's what I'm thinking. And then he shows you and he shows you a repeat of the same idea. So he says the same. I'm out of time? I guess we ran out of time. So he says a repeat of the same idea. We'll pick it up tomorrow in this place. Again, just trying to analyze what it looks like, what the best I can make out of it to try to get any kind of a tefisa, a hold on it to understand. This is Baruch Fleischman, and thank you for listening. These are deep shiurim from the RASHASH.